Have you ever spent weeks learning a new skill, only to find yourself completely blank when it's time to actually use it? You watch countless tutorials, take detailed notes, maybe even practice a bit, yet when the moment comes to perform, it's like your brain has been wiped clean. What if I told you that one of history's greatest minds, Richard Feynman, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist known for making the impossible seem simple, discovered a method so counterintuitive that it completely transforms how your brain locks in any skill permanently? Here's the thing most people don't realize. Your brain isn't failing you. The problem is that nearly everything we've been taught about learning is working against how our minds actually function. Has this ever happened to you? You dedicate hours to mastering something new, whether it's playing an instrument, coding, public speaking, or even cooking. And yet within days, maybe even hours, that knowledge seems to evaporate into thin air. You're not alone, and more importantly, you're not doing anything wrong. The traditional approach to learning is fundamentally broken. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. What Feynman uncovered wasn't just another study technique or memory hack. He stumbled upon something far more profound, a complete blueprint for how the human brain builds lasting mastery. The secret lies not in memorizing more information or practicing longer hours, but in understanding the invisible architecture of learning itself. Your brain has specific patterns, hidden mechanisms that, when properly activated, can make any skill stick with almost magnetic permanence. Think about the skills you've actually mastered in your life, the ones you can perform without thinking. Maybe it's riding a bike, driving a car, or speaking your native language. You don't consciously recall rules or steps, you just do it. That's not because you have a photographic memory or exceptional talent. It's because somewhere along the way, accidentally or not, you triggered the exact neurological processes that Feynman deliberately engineered into his learning system. The frustrating gap between knowing something intellectually and being able to execute it flawlessly isn't a personal failing. It's a predictable outcome of learning methods that treat your brain like a hard drive, trying to download and store information in neat, organized folders. But your mind doesn't work that way. It's not a storage device. It's a living, breathing network that craves connection, struggle, and creation. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely upend everything you thought you knew about becoming skilled at anything. We're going to explore why most people forget half of what they learn within just days, and more importantly, how Feynman's approach creates neural pathways so strong that skills become virtually impossible to forget. This isn't about working harder. It's about working with your brain's natural genius instead of fighting against it. The first key to unlocking this transformative approach reveals why timing, not time spent, is what separates those who master skills from those who perpetually struggle. Here's where the journey gets really fascinating, because what I'm about to reveal might challenge everything you believe about practice and preparation. Think about the last time you studied for something important. Maybe you reviewed your notes repeatedly, went over the material dozens of times, felt completely confident that you knew it. Then the moment arrived to actually demonstrate that knowledge, and suddenly your mind went blank. That crushing experience isn't a reflection of your abilities. It's the consequence of a widespread misconception that has derailed countless learning journeys. The hidden truth that separates those who achieve real mastery from those who remain perpetually stuck is this: recognition and recall are not the same thing. Your brain treats these two processes completely differently, activating entirely separate neural pathways. When you review material with your notes open, with tutorials playing, with references right in front, of you. You're training your brain to recognize information when it sees it, but recognition is passive. It's comfortable. It requires minimal mental effort because all the answers are already there, triggering a false sense of competence that evaporates the instant you need to perform without those safety nets. Feynman discovered that real learning, the kind that sticks permanently, happens during those uncomfortable moments of struggle, when you force yourself to retrieve information from memory without any prompts or clues. Every single time you attempt to recall something, even when you stumble or get it wrong, you're creating memory traces exponentially stronger than anything passive review could ever build. This is the testing effect in action, and its impact on skill acquisition cannot be overstated. Behind the scenes of every expert performance, there are thousands of these retrieval attempts, each one forging neural pathways until what once required conscious effort becomes automatic, effortless, instinctive. The transformation happens because your brain interprets that struggle as a signal. This information matters. When you comfortably review material, your mind relaxes, thinking it already knows everything. But when you're forced to dig deep, to wrestle with concepts without references, your neural architecture responds by strengthening those connections, making them more accessible, more permanent. It's similar to how muscles grow stronger, not during rest, but during the strain of resistance training. The discomfort isn't a sign you're failing. It's proof you're building something lasting. Now, I want to go even deeper into why most people hit frustrating plateaus despite investing massive amounts of time and energy into learning. The revelation here fundamentally reshapes how we need to think about organizing knowledge in our minds. Traditional education systems, online courses, even most skill-building programs structure information in neat, isolated chapters. Chapter 1 covers this concept. Chapter 2 introduces that technique. Chapter 3 explores something else entirely. This approach creates what I call knowledge islands, disconnected pieces of information floating separately in your mental landscape with no bridges connecting them. If this resonated with you, I'd love to have you as part of this community. Hit that subscribe button so we can continue exploring these powerful learning breakthroughs together. This channel is all about discovering what actually works when it comes to mastering skills faster and more effectively. Your brain doesn't naturally organize understanding this way. Our minds crave networks of meaning, intricate webs where every piece of knowledge connects to multiple other pieces, creating a living ecosystem of comprehension rather than a filing cabinet of isolated facts. When you learn something new in isolation, without linking it to concepts you already deeply understand, it remains fragile, easily forgotten, difficult to access when you need it most. This explains why you might know individual techniques but struggle to combine them fluidly in real situations. Feynman's approach transforms this entire paradigm. Instead of treating new skills as standalone entities to be memorized, you actively build bridges between new knowledge and your existing mental architecture. You create personal associations, emotional connections, practical applications that anchor abstract concepts to concrete experiences you've already lived. This web of understanding becomes three-dimensional, reinforcing itself from multiple angles until forgetting becomes nearly impossible because the knowledge is woven into the fabric of everything else you know. Write in the comments, "Building my bridges," if you're ready to start connecting your knowledge in entirely new ways that make skills stick permanently. What I'm about to share with you is the capstone of Feynman's entire approach, and it's so deceptively simple that most people overlook its transformative power. Here's the revelation that changed everything for me personally. You don't truly understand something until you can explain it in the simplest possible terms, not to your colleagues, not to fellow learners at your level, but to someone who knows absolutely nothing about the subject. Imagine explaining it to a curious child who keeps asking, "But why?" until you reach the bedrock of understanding. This is where the real magic happens, where mastery reveals itself. After you've learned a new concept or practiced a skill, take just 15 minutes and pretend you're teaching it to someone completely unfamiliar with the topic. Speak out loud if you can, or write it down as if you're crafting the clearest explanation possible. Use simple language, concrete examples, everyday metaphors that anyone could grasp immediately. What you'll discover during this process is profound. The moments when you stumble, when you can't find the right words, when your explanation becomes tangled or unclear, those aren't signs of failure. They're what Feynman called moments of truth, precious indicators showing you exactly where your understanding has gaps. Behind the scenes of this technique is a complete neural reorganization happening in real time. Teaching forces your brain to distill complexity into its essence, to strip away jargon and unnecessary details until only the core principles remain. This process of simplification isn't dumbing down the material. It's actually the highest form of mastery because it requires you to understand something so thoroughly that you can reconstruct it from fundamental building blocks. When you can explain a complex skill in terms a 10-year-old would understand, you've achieved a level of comprehension that goes far beyond surface memorization. The impact of this mindset shift extends into every area of skill acquisition. You stop being a passive receiver of information and transform into an active architect of understanding. Each time you attempt to teach what you've learned, you're reorganizing that knowledge into the exact format your brain needs to access it fluently during real application. It's like creating a perfectly indexed library where every piece of information is connected, accessible, and ready to use at a moment's notice. Now, I want to go even deeper into how these principles come together to create lasting transformation. The key journey from struggling beginner to confident practitioner isn't about accumulating more hours of practice. It's about the quality and structure of those practice sessions. When you integrate everything we've discussed, spacing your practice strategically, actively creating instead of passively consuming, testing yourself without safety nets, building networks of understanding and teaching to clarify your knowledge, something extraordinary happens. Learning stops being this effortful, frustrating battle and becomes an integrated experience that feels almost natural. The hidden truth is that 15 focused minutes daily, structured using these principles, will create more permanent change than occasional marathon sessions of traditional study. This isn't motivational rhetoric. It's how compound learning actually functions in your neural architecture. Each small session builds on the previous one, strengthening pathways, deepening connections, until what once required conscious effort becomes automatic. You shift from being someone who knows about a skill to someone who embodies it, who can execute it fluidly without thinking, because it's woven into who you are. What makes this approach so powerful is how it aligns with your brain's natural learning processes instead of fighting against them. Traditional methods treat learning like pouring water into a container, hoping some of it stays. Feynman's system treats learning like cultivating a garden, where each small daily action compounds into something alive, growing, self-sustaining. The transformation happens not through sheer force of will, but through intelligent design that respects how human minds actually build lasting skills. Type 15 minutes to mastery in the comments if you're committing to this daily practice starting today. So there you have it. We've journeyed through Feynman's complete blueprint for accelerating skill acquisition in ways that actually respect how your brain works. What fascinates me most about sharing this with you is knowing that somewhere out there, someone watching right now will apply these principles and experience that breakthrough moment where everything suddenly clicks into place. Maybe that's you. If you found real value in what we explored today, I'd genuinely love for you to join this community. Hit that subscribe button because this channel is dedicated to uncovering these kinds of evidence-based learning revelations that can genuinely transform how you approach any skill. We're not about quick fixes or empty promises here. We dig into what actually works, backed by science and proven by results. And if you made it all the way through with me, type "Feynman changed my mindset" in the comments. I read every single one, and it helps me understand who's truly committed to this path of transformation. Plus, it creates a space where we can all connect as people serious about mastering our crafts. That like button? It does more than you might think. It tells the algorithm that this content matters, helping other learners discover these methods who desperately need them. It's a small gesture that creates ripples of impact far beyond what you see. There's a video right here that takes these exact principles and shows you how to apply them specifically to the area where most people struggle, maintaining consistency without burning out. Click and continue with me over there, because what you'll discover might be the missing piece that makes everything we discussed today actually stick for the long term.